Welcome back, YouTube. It is the Drunk Capitalist here again, and I have another video again about these new construction buildings, homes, and the sort and what these contractors are really doing. It seems like the problems just don't end when it comes to these newer homes. If anything, it just proves to everyone and buyers and sellers that older homes that are tried, tested, are the most true to being stable at this point, because this is crazy. In doing this research about all these new builds and what's going on, there's a lot of issues, and it's not just, insulation, it's water damage to the utmost, it's mismanagement, it's engineering issues, structural issues, like lying, conniving, like all types of crazy things are going on in order for people to conduct, business. This is not the type of capitalism that I enjoy. This is the darker, dirtier side of things. And it's unfortunate that certain people end up in these situations. But today we're going to look at a different type of housing situation. We're going to look at what it's like to have a luxury rental that's not so luxurious. Let's get right into it.
All right, residents are banding together to get their apartment complex to discount their rent as they deal with a ton of problems, from hallways in shambles to piles of trash and elevators that don't work.
But with no response from management, they've reached out to our pal Lucero to get some help.
Modern luxury's best new high-rise. That's what signs for the Icon Midtown complex read. But Ryan St. John says the lingering issues after pipes burst has made his home anything but the best.
All the pipes are broken and there's just trash throughout this. So on all of our floors, we have trash chutes, doors, so you smell all the trash.
He says the hallways have become the new trash rooms because the chute has been broken for over a month and only one elevator in the 39th floor high-rise fully works.
We waited 20 minutes to get an elevator.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, the trash thing, this is where I have to call the tenants out on it, right? Because granted, we understand it's a luxury building, you guys have a trash chute, and you expect to throw your trash in the trash chute. But anywhere else you live, you bring your trash outside, okay? So the complaint of the trash being in the hallway is more of I don't want to call it elitist, but like more of a privileged sentiment, because you guys are the ones putting it in the hallway. They're not putting it in the hallway, you're putting it in the hallway. You can very well grab the trash and take it outside. Let's be real here. I'm pretty sure the complex doesn't prevent anyone and tell people, no, you can't throw your trash out outside. But I'm gonna let them rock. I'm gonna let them continue. They're gonna talk about this elevator situation.
And then another 20 minutes to try to come back. So that day our kids were late to school because the elevators were all being used.
The parking gate also doesn't work, and he says cars were broken into because of this. As for resident floors,
they've gone through and cut out all the drywall, ripped up all the carpet.
Yeah, it looks as though all the luxury amenities and things are just not working. The elevator is broken. The electrical system, I guess, for the car garage doesn't work well. So now the car garage doesn't actually lock, doesn't actually protect your cars. And if you know anything about Atlanta, it's very known that people break into cars and steal things out of cars in Atlanta. That seems like to be like the most popular crime around the Atlanta area.
And there's really no timetable for when any of this stuff's going to get fixed. They just don't respond to requests.
St. John says residents have reached out repeatedly to property managers and owners of the complex, but got the runaround. That prompted him to start this petition asking for management to reduce their rent until things are fixed.
Within a week, we had 2.
I think that's valid, and that is really in your rights as a tenant, paying for a apartment, whether it be luxury or not. Is if things aren't up to standards, if things are uninhabitable, you have the right to restrict payment to your landlord until they fix those issues. Or you also have the choice of paying to fix those things yourself and deducting it from the rent and attaching the rent receipt and sending it to your landlord in order to legitimize that deduction. A lot of people don't know that. So for example, if you are living in an apartment and you have pests or rodents and your landlord doesn't answer you back in a timely manner in order to mitigate that issue of getting a exterminator, you can pay for the extermination service. You don't have to live with the rats or the roaches or ants or whatever pests enter your home. You don't have to live with that. You can go fix it yourself and deduct the payment of solving that issue in their home, right? Because it is their home, you're just renting it, and getting that deducted. But a situation like this where the issues don't exactly happen inside the unit itself and more on the lines of the amenities and the extra perks and luxurious things in the building, that's where things get sticky. So I think they went the right direction of doing like a petition so they can get all of the apartment residents together on it. And I gotta say, that's one of the things that I like to see. Get together and actually do something about it. Don't just talk about it, be about it.
I mean, clearly the sentiment in this building, everybody feels the same way about it.
A Facebook page created in December shows residents posting daily pictures of their frustrations. He says they all want clarity, transparency, and answers. 11 Alive also reached out to property managers and owners about the problems multiple times since Wednesday and did not hear back.
It's really aggravating.
Yeah, they're gathering their evidence. They have a case. Like, you guys were paying exorbitant prices for rent. You know, a luxury building, sometimes they cost upwards of like $3,000 for an apartment.
And it's not so much that stuff happens, it's more about having a two-way dialogue. And so when we don't have two-way dialogue and we're still being asked to pay the full rent amount every month, I think that's outrageous. It's outrageous to me.
We will continue to reach out to get
It is outrageous.
answers, and in the meantime, St. John plans on gathering more signatures until management addresses this. In Atlanta, Paola Suro, 11 Alive News.
So what I see from this whole thing is that, again, we have another situation where people are, I don't know if you've noticed, but in a lot of metropolitan areas, a lot of luxury buildings are going up, and they're going up fast. So it looks like a lot of people, builders and, you know, real estate investors are building up these properties, and they're doing it for as quickly and as cheaply as they can do it, and then trying to find renters to get them into the property as quickly as possible. And then things are just slowly falling apart as time goes on. And we're not talking about, you know, 30, 40, 50 years, because, you know, we see the conditions of the projects, and we see how, you know, the projects aren't necessarily the nicest place to live in, but they've been around for like 100 years. And the thing about the projects is that even though they've been around for 100 years, structurally, they are the most sound, right? Because those places were built like tanks. They were built to last. They were built out of prison materials. They're built out of the same concrete that schools and judicial buildings and government buildings and prisons are built out of. So they last a lot longer. Now they have other issues. Those issues come from usually the tenants not caring for, like, the apartment, the cabinet doors are hanging off, or, you know, there's, you know, roaches and mice and things like that, which that's just something that happens in homes, period. And in a place like a project building where people are, you know, defecating or, you know, relieving themselves in elevators and things of the sort, which I don't think is ever happening in this building, but they obviously have the problem of the trash. You know, the project buildings are more structurally sound, so they don't really have the same issues. Sometimes they do have, obviously, leaking issues because these buildings are older, and then they take forever to fix these problems for their residents. But all in all, it goes to show you that even on the higher end of things, people are still having difficulty with landlords and construction builds, because these days people are slapping these things together and, you know, spraying it with pretty paint and then being like, $5K, like $5K a month. And next thing you know, your trash can't even go in a trash compactor, and the floors are ripping up and there's leaks and all this stuff. I've seen it so much, and I thought that it was just one-offs here and there, but it looks to be a very pervasive problem. And I think for the next couple decades, probably, we're gonna see more and more of this, because a lot of these new high-rises are very new, and a lot of the problems don't expose themselves for like a few years. And it looks like this building is just like in complete disarray, like barely livable. Definitely not luxurious. But thank you guys for watching. This is the Drunk Capitalist. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.